Let me see if I can video this whole process of sensitization. Thank you. The instrucciones say to apply multiple thin coats, waiting 1 minute between coats. I've got this can up to probably 100 degrees or so. I put it in some kind of, well, not boiling water, but warm water. And I shook it and stuck it back in the water. So now it's warm. And it's going to spray really nice. Atomization is important. It's about 60 degrees outside. A little bit humid, but I don't care. Oh, let's raise this up a bit. Maybe I can get underneath there at a proper angle. Those are the mounts. Oh yeah, that's coming out super well. Lots of atomization. You can just hear it like a fuzz sound. It's just pouring out of there. Really nice. Try to get all the angles here. Patience. Get proper angles on everything. Light coat to start with. Probably do a little bit more of a medium coat next time. Probably do 3 coats. Well, I just got some splatters. Shit. Well, thankfully this isn't a critical project. I'm not painting a high-tech automobile. It's a little too close together there. Getting a little bit of shadowing from the other one. Splatter was probably because I'm kind of bursting it. I should be going more with just a constant flow. If I can. Contaminants causing fisheyeing, even though I sanded it all down with a completely new sanding block. 1000 grit. I alcoholed them all down super well with a clean microfiber before I started. And when I finished, I alcoholed it all down. I still got contaminants, so that's what you get for using 91% alcohol and doing it in your kitchen where there's probably no way to prevent contamination. A little bit of microscopic oil or something, and it might have even been on my microfiber because those have been through the washing machine. So, detergents, fabric softener, I don't use fabric softener, but any other stuff in the washing machine and into the dryer is probably going to be contaminated. So I would never use microfibers that weren't brand new for a real project. I probably wouldn't even use them then unless I rinsed them all out inside of like a big container of acetone to absolutely purify them. Because I'm betting those contaminants are from my microfiber, doing that final wipe down with alcohol. But this will be fine and dandy for what I'm doing. Alright, second coat. It's actually been about 3 minutes. I stuck this back in the warm water to keep it warm, obviously. I may get rid of those little, I can't remember what you call them, fish eyes. I kind of fogged it on there and then actually got it a little bit heavier. Got it in the same step. For instance, like that. It's turned out pretty nice. So this is allegedly black hammer finish, which has what looks like some metallic in it. I'm not even sure if it's supposed to go direct to metal. In this, I believe these were, I'm going to say hard anodized, some sort of gold color. Obviously they were gold color, but I'm going to say it was anodized on there. Maybe it was electroplated on there. But it was definitely a nice hard finish. I mean, with that 1000 grit, I could barely make an effect on it. Finally, on some of the edges, after kind of scuffing on it for a while, it went through into the, whatever the sub-metal or sub-layer is. Maybe it's like multiple layers of electroplating. So these might have been a little bit spendy when they were purchased. So it took some scuffing. And I finished it, obviously, with that gray Scotch-Brite, just to get as much roughing up as possible. But yeah, we're getting some texture on this now. So it does look more like a charcoal gray metallic wrinkly coat. I'm going to do one more, a little bit heavier, to give it more texture, and then it will no longer be effing gold. Well, good news, it just became breezier than it was. Isn't that special? Alright, this last coat I'm going to put on kind of a medium heavy, try and bring out some of that hammer effect. I did actually get a little bit heavy there, and it did a little bit of hammer effect, but yep, that's what I'm doing. I'll let the can cool down outside, and now it's not spraying as well. It's acceptable. Hope I don't get any runs, because that was fairly heavy. Well, it's probably as heavy as you can get it. Hopefully no drips. Yeah, you can hear it's not spraying properly now. It's kind of spurty sounding. So that can cause uneven coverage and frickin' runs. Looks like I got a stick. Oh shit, I touched it. Oh, I touched it twice. That's a great big something here. And there's a little bit of dirt in there, dust. See that? Added a little bit right there where I touched it. Okay. Of course, the tops are invisible. They're going to go way up in the cabinet thing. The recess in the cabinet, so it doesn't matter. This part does, though. Well, even with this amount of lighting, is a reflection, not a sag. That's good. Well, I've done about all I can. This one's kind of light. I'm going to add a little bit of heaviness to that. I hope the hell I don't get a run. It might actually be getting smoother the more I put on. I think I'm going to stop on the head. There's actually a little bitty sag happening right there. There's no telling what's going to happen in a couple of minutes. Actually, let's look at this right here. That looks dry. Damn it. That's the problem with this. Now I've started kind of touching things up, and it's going to get a little kind of dry around where I touch it up. So I'm leaving it. If it doesn't sag out, I'm freaking happy. Quit while I'm ahead type of thing. Some of them have more texture than the others, but once you see where this goes, it's really not a big deal. Plus, I'm not much of a perfectionist when it comes to these little home hobby projects. If they look pretty good, I'm good. Alright. About to build me a little curing chamber. Cure some paint. That's an unrelated incident to what I'm about to do. Actually, it's directly related. Former incident. Which is why I'm using this POS again. So, obviously that's an old hairdryer that I took apart, cleaned out. Put a little micro switch on because the trigger didn't work anymore. And I have it on low heat and low fan right now. And it's not making any heat, so that's nice. Maybe I turned it off. What do we got here? It says warm. Yeah, it says warm. Not warm. High quality junk. What's high do? Does high make any heat? Is this the heat button here? It is. There we go. Yeah, that was the heat trigger button that I had to manipulate. And it's barely reliable. Alright, that's warm. I'm great at filming. Put that in an angle. Get a little swirl going here. Warm swirl. Jeez. I may actually turn this up to hot. Alright, I've got the temperature probe, my little barbecue temperature probe, just one channel, the upper channel, and it's wireless. It's got a pretty good range on it. It'll reach over to my neighbor's house, so I can keep an eye on things. So, I got my alarm set at 200, don't want to go with 200, and I don't think it will. If I switch it on high, it might, so I'm going to monitor this. Ambient temperature outside is probably 56, 57. So it's a little warmer in there already, even without the lid on. So I'm going to trap most of the heat in. There's going to be some air escaping, which is fine because we need air in, air out. These lids don't seal for crap. So, and we've got our obviously our inlet there. We've got these snapped down, but they're gonna pour enough exhaust air out to actually, unfortunately, well, because it's got a swirl effect, it'll fairly even distribution. But yeah, it's already climbing a little bit. We'll see what low does, low temp setting. Might go up to high temp setting, and then if I go up to high temp and it starts climbing too quickly, I'll just open a corner of this and let that happen. So we'll see what happens here for a while. The lamps were already dry for 30, 40 minutes before I put them in there. So they've had a time to evaporate, and then yeah, we'll let them actually hopefully cure a little more quickly so I can install them today. Alright, I've got the temperature probe, my little barbecue temperature probe, just one channel, the upper channel, and it's wireless. It's got a pretty good range on it. It'll reach over to my neighbor's house, so I can keep an eye on things. So I got my alarm set at 200, don't want to go with 200, and I don't think it will. If I switch it on high, it might, so I'm going to monitor this. Ambient temperature outside is probably 56, 57. So it's a little warmer in there already, even without the lid on. So I'm going to trap most of the heat in. There's going to be some air escaping, which is fine because we need air in, air out. These lids don't seal for crap. So, and we've got our obviously our inlet there. We've got these snapped down, but they're gonna pour enough exhaust air out to actually, unfortunately, well, because it's got a swirl effect, it'll fairly even distribution. But yeah, it's already climbing a little bit. We'll see what low does, low temp setting. Might go up to high temp setting, and then if I go up to high temp and it starts climbing too quickly, I'll just open a corner of this and let that happen. So we'll see what happens here for a while. The lamps were already dry for 30, 40 minutes before I put them in there. So they've had a time to evaporate, and then yeah, we'll let them actually hopefully cure a little more quickly so I can install them today. Well, it's been about 5 minutes and it's up to 90, so we are getting some warmth in there. We'll see how that goes. Well, we're at 10 plus minutes and we're at 97 degrees and not really making any any progress forward. So I'm going to turn that hairdryer to high temp with the speed on low, and we should hear it bog down a little bit here. Nope, didn't really change the sound of it much. Let's see what it does here. I've decided that I'm going to run this at about 150 or less, so I'm going to set my alarm on 150, because I'm fairly certain that this total ancient tub made out of recycled dog crap isn't going to be able to handle much more than 150. So, well, we just jumped to 101 fairly quickly on high temp, low fan speed. So yeah, I'm going to set my probe number 1 to 150 for an alarm. There we go. And we'll let that percolate. What I'll probably do is once I get up to 150, I'll come up here and stick it on low temp, low speed, and let it drop a little bit. And I'll just cycle it off and on to kind of maintain somewhere in that temp. Well, I haven't actually been timing this. I probably should have put a stopwatch on it. So I'm going to say it's been 15 minutes running on high temp, low fan speed. We're at 124. I noticed that this started to get a little soft. Well, soft enough that it kind of bowed up a bit. But it's not hot to the touch, so I don't expect the plastic to be suffering. I mean, everything seems pretty stable. Temperature, just by feel anyway, is very even. So nice circulation, even distribution of heat around the items that I'm accelerated drying. I can smell some of the toluene, xylene, whatever's in the fantastic volatile organic compounds that are evaporating off. So I can smell them coming out because there's, like I said, these things aren't even remotely airtight. So there's some air escaping around here. And that's actually a good thing, because it's not only heating the items, but it's providing more air to exchange with the organic compounds and then exhaust those compounds, so that the environment is not actually saturated, and therefore the compound evaporation can continue. So this is just a fantastic little paint curing booth, really, at this point, for, cheapo projects. I'm not going to do something that's some sort of immaculate job, but pretty sure I wouldn't do that anyway. Well, I'll update in a bit. Well, this has been running about 45 minutes now, and on high heat, low RPM, low fan speed, and we've stabilized at 123 degrees, so that's about the max that I'm going to get out of this cooking chamber crock pot. And it's, a little soft, but I probably can't even tell that's moving, but it's moving just a little bit. But it's definitely not in danger of melting. And this is the side where the fan is blowing on the I guess, to create the circulation rotation. So it's blowing right in here, and I can put my hand on it, no problem. So it's not that freaking warm. And I can feel a little bit of warm air coming around the edges, which is nice. So yeah, I'm just going to let that cook at 123 Fahrenheit. I don't have to worry about anything. Plus, I got my operation programmed here, so I can monitor it.